Hi everyone. Today we have Amanda on the channel.
Hi, all.
So Amanda, why don't you tell my viewers who you are and where to find you?
My name's Amanda. I am an lead assistant for early childhood, and you can find me on Instagram at PinkyLove88. I am going to be starting out a weight loss accountability little platform.
That sounds great, Amanda. I think a lot of us could use that. So, today we are continuing on with our series of interviews. And Amanda, I'm just going to lead you through your whole life journey, and hopefully you'll be able to tell us all about your weight loss, weight gain, weight loss, and whatever the funny things or silly things that you've done along the way. Sound good?
Mm. Yes.
Why don't you start off by telling the viewers about your childhood?
Oh my goodness, my childhood. So I started off as your typical small child and, normal childhood. There was a little trigger warning. There is a little bit of EDs mentioned. That's all part of the journey. But for the most part, childhood was normal. I was your typical thin child until about third grade. I think I started putting on some weight. Fourth grade, I started putting on some weight. Fifth grade, I look back at a fifth grade graduation picture and I said, "Oh my goodness, my little buttons on my little button-up dress were like popping open. They were struggling. They were struggling to stay together." And that's about the time a family member, I won't mention any names, but a family member was like, if you suck in your stomach a little bit, it's a tip, it makes you look thinner. And I was like, that's the first time I think I was ever like, oh, I'm fat. I mean, as you're growing up, kids are kids. They're mean. I mean, we can stay mean throughout like our entire lives, but kids, oh my gosh, are so mean. So I was used to the thinner girls poking, and for the most part, didn't let it bother me. Sixth grade, it started bothering me a little bit, and about sixth grade is when I discovered self. It wasn't super bad, but there was a time that I kind of myself a little bit on the thumb and said, "Oh, okay." So when things started bothering me, when I was really letting those comments about being fat, eating too much, the types of food I ate, even if it wasn't, oh, I got so tired of the Little Debbie's comment. I promise you all, Little Debbie's was not my favorite. It is still not my favorite. I cannot hardly stand Little Debbie's snack cakes, but because I was a fat child, obviously, Little Debbie was my go to. Wrong, it was Taco Bell. But um, so as we moved forward, there was a little bit of self harm going on, nothing too bad. And it didn't get until about high school. And high school is when it started getting real bad because as I grew, I thinned out, but I was still fat. So in high school, I think when I started in ninth grade, I was your size like 7'9",
Can you
which,
tell us what year this was? Just because clothing sizes have changed
oh
dramatically.
my, oh my gosh, yes. So graduated high school in '06.
Okay.
My age. You can see my age. So I started in like 2002, was ninth grade. And I thought my clothing size was normal. I didn't feel like it was fat. By the grace of everything that's out there, where I hold my weight at the most is my hips, my bottom, my thighs. I am a fat bottom girl through and through. I have
Go
always been
pair.
a fat bottom girl. So there was always lots of comments made about my bottom as we were growing up, my hips as I was growing up. I hated riding the bus. I was so glad when 10th grade hit and I had a friend that would give me rides every day because getting on and off the bus was a struggle because sometimes just turning that body sideways and squiggling down the aisle just wasn't enough. Um, but that's kind of when the self harm started getting a little worse because they say middle school is bad. I tell you what, middle school was fine for me. It was high school.
Mhm.
I would never ever want to do high school again. I don't care how far back I can turn the clock. If I have to go through high school again, absolutely not.
I think that high school, when the competing for boys starts to happen, it makes it worse.
It really, really does. Especially if you have somebody who's like honed in on you because the guy that they like seems to talk to you a lot. Just because he's talking to me doesn't mean that I like him. And it just makes me feel like now looking back, I'm like, oh, they were just insecure because most of the girls who did like to say really nasty things to me or start rumors behind my back, they were much thinner.
Hmm.
Whereas once again, I was very hippie, very large in the bottom, kind of chunky thighed. Um, but it was ninth grade that I started my first part of like yo-yoing with my weight.
Before we get to that, when you were a child and you were getting the comments, the Little Debbie's comments, did you understand it was food that was causing the problem, or did you think it was something else? Because you're
I
little.
Yeah, at that time, no, I did not realize it was the food. I feel like a lot of us growing up in the late 80s, 90s, early 2000s, especially depending on the type of family you come from, uh, we are very food oriented. Unfortunately, my entire family is the type of family that we eat our feelings and we don't realize that we're eating our fillings. My grandmother, you go to her house, bless her soul, she's not with us anymore, but I would go to her house and her first thing is, "Are you hungry? Do you want something to eat?" "No, Nanny, I'm fine. Let me make you a sandwich." "Thanks, Nanny." And I've learned I actually do the same thing. My husband loves to remind me that I'm just like my grandmother because the first thing I ask him when he walks through the door after work, "You hungry? Want me to fix you something?" As soon as he rolls out of bed, "Babe, you need something to eat? You want
And the
me to
thing
fix?"
is, that's like it's a caregiving act and not realizing, like, I'm sure your grandmother saw it as caregiving. It's
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I did not, realize it was the food until probably about high school, and then even then, because I feel like that's when, like, people were really starting to shove Atkins, Weight Watchers, you really started getting the over the counter, like, Hydroxy Cut type things. Slim Fast, oh my god, Slim Fast was so big during high school. It wasn't until then, but even then, I'm like, I don't eat that much. I don't eat that much. I'm just not moving enough. Even though I did volleyball, I did softball, I was constantly on the run. If I wanted to go see a friend or if I wanted to go see my grandmother, I'm taking 10 to 15-minute walks back and forth to get there. And like we just constantly moved and moved. Like looking back now, obviously it was the food. Um, Obviously, it was the shoving it in my mouth every time I was sad, upset, happy. If my mom wanted me to do something, uh, "I'll get you Taco Bell if you do blah, 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 blah," because she
Wow.
knew Taco Bell was my jam. Love taco still do. Don't eat it as much anymore because now that I'm older, and I've calmed down on some of my foods, I realize Taco Bell does not agree with me like it used
Mhm.
to. So, no, I did not realize it,
And did your
but
parents try to do anything like before high school? Like I'm talking as a child, like, oh, maybe you don't eat a dessert, or like, did they try, or did they just let you be?
they just kinda let me be. Unfortunately, oh my gosh, and I should have remembered this story. I think I wanna say I was in elementary school, I'm gonna say about 5th grade. 5th grade was the first time my doctor handed me a diet list of foods that I should eat so I could lose weight, and I'm looking at this going, "What the hell is this? I'm not eating any of this." And my mom goes, "You ready to go to McDonald's?" "Yep." And at that time, if you remember back in the '90s, we had the supersize
Oh yeah.
menu. Me and my bucket of Coke and my pail of french fries. Yes, because that's exactly what I needed, and I wanna say, bless her heart, we might have done, like, lean cuisines because, lean is in the name, so
But
obviously
they're so small, you need to eat two.
I was like, "We're eating healthy." The salads? Yeah, because, the cheese, the bacon bits, the croutons, the cut up ham, the
But
diced turkey.
dressing, you can douse your salad with like 300, 400 calories of dressing.
And I'm not even gonna lie, I'm a ranch girl, so you best believe, my salad was swimming. I
Hmm.
don't even know if you could see the lettuce half the time. We would go to a buffet, and I'm like, "I'm just gonna have a salad." Same thing.
Salad dressing is 100 calories a tablespoon, most of them. And think
Yeah.
about, and you know how big a tablespoon is, and think about how many tablespoons that is.
Oh my goodness. No, we talking bottles at this point in time. I'm pretty sure when I would put at least a good half a bottle of salad dressing going, "This is healthy." "Oh, it says light on it. It's healthy. It's fine." No, no, ridiculous.
Wow.
Uh,
So I'll let you pick up where you were because I cut you off. So we're at ninth grade, and you said you're just starting to try to lose weight, try to do some things.
I think it's more along the lines of, as we're growing up, a lot of our I feel like a lot of our self-image that we get especially if there's a female in the house, more females, a mother figure, that sort of thing. My mom, she was a model back in the day. She had always been used to being very slim. She had me. She went back to being very slim. I'm talking size 0, size 2, tiny. Had my sister, still was slim, but then she started gaining weight and started gaining weight and started gaining weight. And high school was the first time I got introduced to the Atkins diet. I
Mhm.
was in ninth grade when my mom decided we're going to do the Atkins diet. That did not last very long. Thank everything on it because it was horrible, horrible. Then we did the we're going to cut out caffeine.
Caffeine helps
No,
with that.
caffeine. I know caffeine is a drug. I know it's addictive. I feel like there's worse drugs out there. Caffeine
Mhm.
at this point in time is my drug of choice. And honestly,
Mhm.
the only reason I even drink coffee in the morning isn't necessarily because I enjoy the taste. It's because it keeps me from getting that caffeine withdrawal headache.
Right. Me too.
So I remember sitting at the table, my head is pounding. I am so sick. And my mom's like, fine, drink a diet Pepsi then. Not a Pepsi, a diet Pepsi because 0 calories. It's healthy for you.
Mhm.
And I'm like, cool. High school, I want to say ninth grade was also the first time that I was accused of being bulimic by a family member. My mother and my biological were split. So I spent my weeks with my mother. I spent my weekends with my biological father. And I had anxiety so bad it made me physically ill. And going to his house increased my anxiety by like 1,000. So when I would go over, I would be incredibly ill. Like the entire weekend, I would be there. And one weekend, I remember after I just gotten sick, my stepmother looked at me and she was like, you know, that's bulimic. And I was like, no, it's called nerves. If I was bulimic, I feel like I would be much smaller than I am. Most people do that to decrease the weight, not stay the same or get bigger. So that one like totally threw me off. Definitely kind of like messed up a little bit with the self image because I mean, I feel like you're sitting there, you're talking about an ED disorder that obviously I don't have. And I'm like, well, I feel like if I did have this, shouldn't I should be much thinner. And I ended up doing a little bit of like research because, the internet was just starting out being all that lovely dial up. It was a little harder, I feel like, to like find answers. And I know I talked to my mom about it, which she got very upset. Um, but it also kind of threw me for a loop. So that kind of added on to the things because I was like, I ended up being like really hurt by it, actually being accused of making myself get sick. It also did not help though when they had their party days. I will admit she made amazing little party appetizers and entrees. This is where the binge comes in because I would be that person. I would binge until I make myself sick, then turn around and binge some more because, well, now my stomach's empty.
That's
So,
actually very common. You're not the first person that's, said that, and yeah, I understand it.
yeah, so it wasn't until about I think 11th grade maybe I ended up getting put on the watch because the self-harm was starting to get too bad. At that point in time, I had confided in a teacher, and back in the day, I don't know if we were necessarily, I don't remember being made aware if you say anything to a teacher, it is their job to report. So my mother got a phone call from a counselor talking about it. She had no clue. Obviously, she didn't have any clue. Um, and I ended up having to go see my doctor, who at this point in time, we've already talked about weight loss multiple times. She had given me that same damn paper with all the weight loss foods or all the foods that I should be eating about 3 or 4 times at this point. Um, and when I went in to see her and she was asking me, I told her I was, I was depressed and not necessarily like just because of my weight. Had a lot of problems going on. There was abuse at one point in time that happened. There was my weekend life. There was school. I was just I was just depressed. And back back in the early 2000s when you came in and you're said, especially as a teenager, you're depressed. She ran blood work, came back and said, "Oh, well, your blood work's normal. There's no chemical imbalance. So this is all just for attention. You're just going through a phase." So at that point in time, I was going through a phase. And I'm like, okay, sure, we'll go through that. So my mom started watching me like really close. And I was like, well, the Atkins diet didn't work. I think about 11th grade, my mom tried Weight Watchers for the first time. I got drugged to that because we're gonna get some weight off of you. It's gonna help. No, it didn't help either one of us.
Did you go
I
to the
got to get
meetings and everything, or did you do it online?
it was in person meet.
So you had to go and step on that scale,
Had
and
to go and step on that scale, have somebody tell me how much I weigh as like a bunch of other people or like standing
Mhm.
around. Had to do like that whole introduce yourself thing.
Yeah.
And I did this twice because I did this later on with a friend as well. And I'm like, I don't know why I keep subjecting myself to Weight Watchers. Um, I did the whole thing where I just wouldn't eat. I would lock myself in my room and I wouldn't eat like all day, which was horrible because then when I did eat, I would
Eat too
binge.
much? Yeah.
I would binge, and instead of drinking like water, I was sucking down Cokes. And it's still my kryptonite at this point in time. Mountain Dew was my favorite. Mountain Dew Code Red came out, best believe, all the time. That's all I was drinking. Uh, that definitely didn't help. So by senior year, I was a size 13 in 2006. That was my heaviest. So when I left out of there, I want to say my weight was 120,
Oh, wow.
which according to the BMI, which my doctor was going by, I was technically obese because for my tiny frame, I should weigh about 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So I was still overweight, even though, like, I think technically today it would have been like the heavier end,
How
according to
tall are
the,
you?
huh?
How tall are you?
I am about between 4'10", 4'11".
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm a
So,
teeny tiny person.
now this
Yes,
starts to make sense because you're talking about being like, "What? This
I
weight is
know, but
100 pounds."
weigh 100 pounds. That's how much I should have weighed. And I remember going to school with a girl, and I want to say that's about how much she weighed, and she was probably just a little bit taller than me. I wouldn't give her, but maybe 2 inches taller than me. And I was like, I don't want to look like that because I mean, it wasn't her fault, but it was just, it looked to me so unhealthy because she was just all skin and bone.
Mhm.
Like I could see like her like joints poking out. I'm like, I don't want to look like that. To me, I thought I was fine, but doctor said no. People at school said no. I, I'm still in 12th grade getting the Little Debbie comment.
Right.
I'm like, when have y'all ever seen me eating Little Debbie? Flaming Hot Cheetos and Mountain Dew, yes, unfortunately. Once again, kryptonite. I still have to watch myself around Flaming Hot Cheetos, and I still have to watch myself around Mountain Dew because I sure will slip right back into that habit.
In high
Um,
school, what was your knowledge about calories at that point? Like, I
no,
know that you said you understood food, but did you actually understand that, hey, a Cheetos and a Mountain Dew have way more calories than a big ass sandwich and salad?
absolutely none. Even though we did Atkins, even though we did Weight Watchers, even though at that point in time my mom was seeing a personal trainer, and I did kind of tag along every now and then and go to the gym and do a session or two with her, or just kind of wander around, like walk the treadmill or whatever. There was no understanding of calories because what my mom was doing, she was tracking her calories. She was tracking all the foods she ate versus like what I was doing because I had no knowledge of this. Nobody, even though that's what she was told to do, nobody had said anything like, hey, you should probably start writing down your food. You should probably start writing down your calories. I had no clue that I should have like a calorie like goal for the day. At this point, like, I mean, until a couple of years ago, honestly, I had no idea that I should have a calorie range, that I should have a protein goal. No clue until like I said, probably about 3 to 4 years ago. Is like when it all like really, really clicked.
That makes me upset that the doctor's handing you that sheet, like, first of all, didn't talk about calories, and second of all, didn't get your mom involved. Like, I would never think of handing a teenager like instructions about diet, something important, and not get the parents involved.
Yeah, no, there was no getting her really involved. Even as a child, even as in elementary school, and she handed me that. there was no talk of calorie intake. There was no talk of these are the foods that you want to limit versus these are the foods that you want to add more to. There was none of that. They're just like, here's a sheet. You need to eat what's on the sheet. I'm like, okay, but once again, you had things like fish, chicken, um, whole grains. You can eat too much of whole grains.
Mhm.
I can eat whole grains all day long, and it's still going to be too much on my body because I don't know how many calories that I'm eating. I don't know all the carb intake that I'm eating, and that's another thing that I now know I have to watch because it wasn't until after I graduated high school, after I met my husband, gained 75 pounds in a year without even realizing. I went from a size 13 and about 120 pounds to being almost 200 pounds in a year and had like no clue, didn't know what was going on. Besides the fact that we lived right up the road from a Burger King, I was out on my own, like living with him. I had my own paycheck because I was working and I made decent money. Yeah, we were eating Burger King all the time. We were eating Tumbleweed, Taco Bell. Like, when his dad cooked, his dad threw down in the kitchen. He made like these ginormous, old school, like Southern meals. And my husband is one, you have to have mashed potatoes with everything. Everything.
And I
Um,
bet you those mashed potatoes are buttery as heck.
oh my goodness. Yes, I have to watch myself when I make them for him because we will not do the powdered mashed potatoes, which I think are gross anyways, but I grew up on those
Mhm.
because that's just how my mom cooked. If you ask my husband, my mother didn't cook. It threw him off when he saw her throw in, I think it was like a can of peas or a can of green beans in a bowl and like threw it in the microwave. And he's like, what is that? I'm like, he's cooking. He's like, no, no, that's not how you cook. And I'm like, well, that's how we grew up, but we also grew up on like super like processed food. If you don't like what I'm cooking, you can make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay.
I find that
But
so interesting that your mother was a model and yet you grew up on processed foods.
yes, it kind of throws me off too a little bit because also like when I went to my grandmother's house, especially when I was younger, before my nanny ended up with all of her health conditions, she like the way that she cooked very southern. I remember her telling me one day, I'm gonna teach you how to make fried chicken right. I'm like, okay. She was like, no, you have to fry your chicken in lard. Excuse who uses lard? Like, I cannot figure out how my mother, like, stayed as small as she did, and they all did. My uncle was very thin growing up, my mother was very thin growing up, my aunt was very thin growing up, and I'm looking at, like, my grandmother was very thin up until about the time that she started having her health conditions, and then she started putting on her weight, and I almost feel like that's kind of like with my mom. I feel like my mom has more health conditions than she probably had more health conditions, when she started putting on her weight than what they think, but I cannot figure out how she stayed small. Like,
Did she have to, as an adult, did she work to keep thin or did she, I don't say naturally thin, but I will say naturally have a smaller appetite?
she did not have a naturally smaller appetite. She no, she and that's probably what happened. She got busy. My mother worked all the time. Um, so a lot of times it was quick meals. We didn't do a whole lot of activities as far as like outside going places. We were very kind of homebodied. So there wasn't a whole lot of like added movement into her day other than what she did at work. And when I was growing up, a lot of her jobs involved like she worked at like PNC, so it was a sit down job. She did something at one of the other buildings down in our downtown area. I can't remember, but it was kind of a stationary. Her jobs were very stationary up until she worked where I did. She worked for preschool, so then she started moving around a little bit more. But by that time, I feel like our our diet, her diet, like mine, was already pretty much set. These are the foods that I like. These are the foods that I'm going to eat. And she's a lot like me. I have a very very busy day. So we didn't do meal prepping. There was no meal prepping. There was no like if my husband wants something but I don't want to take in those calories, I'll make him his own meal and then I'll make a lighter version for myself. There was no like kind of compromise with it. So whatever we were eating, that's what she was eating. And I really feel like once again the calories, even though she had some knowledge, it just she wasn't doing it. She just stayed to the point where she's like, I just don't have time for this.
Right.
So, um, but I think she kind of regrets it now. Now she has to do it. Like I said, like myself, because it was after I gained 75 pounds, I started having irregular cycles. I would be lucky if I had a cycle within 6 months. At one point in time, it would like throw me off because at that point in time I was young. My husband and I were not trying to have kids. So it would throw me off when I would be late. Because in
Right.
high school I was never late. It was very on time, lasted a few days, we're done.
Mhm.
So it's like the silly fear before you even like start being intimate and you're a couple days late on your cycle and you're like, oh my God, am I about to be the next Virgin Mary? You just have, like, that unconscious fear of, "Oh my god, I'm pregnant." You can't be pregnant, obviously, but at that
Mhm.
point in time, I would be like, "Did something happen?" But, when we did start trying, about a year or 2 later after that, we finally decided, you know, we're old enough, we're young enough, let's just go ahead and try." I could not. I could not get pregnant. I would go 6 months without a cycle, my stomach would swell, I would look pregnant. I would have the tenderness, I would have morning sickness, I would have all of these pregnancy symptoms, but no pregnancy. And about that time, my nanny was like, maybe we need to go see somebody. So I went and saw my first OBGYN. The most horrible experience. I would never wish this on anybody, even my worst enemy. I don't care how much I dislike you, but for you to go in and say that you're having these problems, you're only like 22, can't get pregnant, but you're having pregnancy symptoms, your cycles are messed up. I've put on, at this point in time, I want to say I've put on almost 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Um, for this woman to look at me after she put me through like the worst path of my life and tell me, honey, you're just fat. There's nothing wrong with you. I'm not going to do any kind of testing until you attempt to lose weight. Okay, thank you for that. I left out of there crying, bawling my eyes out. I was so glad my grandmother went with me because I needed somebody to drive me home. I was crying so bad because I was just like, that was the rudest thing that anyone like, I just can't believe as a professional, you would look at somebody and say, "You're just fat. You need to lose some weight before I do any kind of testing on you." And she also told me I had an abusive relationship because me and my husband like to play wrestle. I was like, "Thank you, therapist.
Mhm.
Thank you for this." So we went on like that for a couple more years, and then I started having these really bad episodes where I would have these shooting pains in my lower abdomen. One day, we were out doing home visits, we were in a gas station, and this pain hit me so bad, I ended up on this gas station floor just clutching my stomach, I until it subsided, I could not move. It was the worst thing. A friend talked me into going to see another OBGYN because I was like, "I'm not going to see one. Absolutely not. Never. Never." Because my doctor would tell me, "There's nothing wrong. You're fine. Everything's coming back normal." So I finally went to see this other OBGYN. She was the sweetest woman. And that's when I found out I actually had a thyroid disorder. I had PCOS. So she sent me to go see an endocrinologist, found out I have hypothyroidism. The pains I was having in my abdomen, those were cysts bursting on my ovaries. Apparently, at that point in time, my ovaries were just covered in cysts. We had a couple that we actually had to go back multiple times within like last couple of months to make sure that they were not going to burst and do permanent damage to my ovaries. And when I went to see the endocrinologist with my thyroid, I also found out at that point in time because I had put on so much weight and I had such a poor diet. Um, I am also technically still borderline diabetic. And I was like, well, I guess this makes sense. So part of it was the doctor said more than likely my thyroid after I met my husband and my activity levels went from so high during high school to so low after we met. It just kind of like that was the end for my thyroid. It just like it wasn't going to work for me anymore. So we started on the medication. I lost 20 pounds in a month because metformin, if anybody's had an adverse reaction to metformin, it's a diabetic medication that a lot of places will use as a weight loss drug. I am what they considered allergic to it because I could not eat. If I ate, I was sick, and you never know which way you were going to be sick. It was the worst feeling. I was like, at this point, I'd rather be fat. I'd rather be fat with bad thyroid. I cannot do this. And my endocrinologist was like, but you've lost 20 pounds. I'm like, I can't eat. I'm sick all the time. We finally got it worked out. Um, but at that point in time, even still, everything was just yo-yoed.
Mhm.
Yo-yo. I tried so many different things. It was ridiculous. Even now, up until probably almost 7 months, everything was just very yo-yoed, trying the most ridiculous things. I finally reached my heaviest, which was 244. 244 on my little 410 frame. Could not
You're
figure
as
out.
wide as you were tall, almost.
I was My knees are hurting all the time, my hips are hurting all the time, and my doctor is like, "Well, yeah, you're obese and you have a lot of weight on those joints." My mom, who is now in the medical field, is like, "Yeah, honey, you got a lot of weight." I'm like, "Thank you, mother." And I just remember taking a picture of myself, and going, "Why did nobody tell me I looked pregnant?" Because from the front, I got, like, this nice, like, little, like, pear shape going, but you go from the side and it's a straight circle. I was
You
like,
don't look at yourself in the mirror that way.
"No," because at that point in time, you're avoiding the mirrors. You're like, "Mm-mm, mm-mm, don't wanna see it." I could only buy my pants at Torrid.
Mhm.
So, I really tried my best not to, and I think what really kicked my butt into gear was, I was a size 20 at Torrid, and when those size 20 started getting on the tighter side, I was like, "Oh, no, we're not going up past a 20. We can't do this." Um, but everything really started clicking, when I started seeing a therapist. A therapist suggested, um, I might need to start being treated again for my depression. When I went to go see my doctor, she did diagnose me high anxiety, high depression. We did start a medication, and that one did not work, so we switched to a new one. That one has been like a lifesaver, and I'm not gonna lie, she did mention it does have an appetite suppressant. And my first couple weeks on it, I was like, this is horrible. I can't eat anything. But now that it's in my system, I'm really like, not only is it helping my anxiety and my depression, I'm so thankful for it because it's helping me learn to take better cues for my body and not overeat. So now I've got to the point where I can tell that like I'm right there on that full line. It's time to stop because if I do eat even just a couple of bites more than I should, I'm sick for the rest of the night.
So your medication is for mental health, but it's helping you with your weight loss.
Yes, I know you said something about maybe talking to somebody who's done Ozempic. It's not Ozempic, it's a workaround for Wingo. So my doctor put me on Wellbutrin, which is what my OBGYN had explained to me is one half of Wegovy, and she prescribed me the second half, which is like naltrexone, and that half is supposed to cut out like the food ones.
Right.
So I'm on technically now a workaround for Wingo,
Oh.
and which it did throw me off that part of a weight loss drug would be part of a mental health drug. It's it's just kind of
It makes
amazing.
sense in a lot of ways. I don't know. I'm a believer in food addiction exists and sugar addiction exists. A lot of people will say no, it's not the same, but I'm from my own personal experience, when I'm in the depths of depression and I am eating family-sized bags of candy, I kid you not, that was what caused me to gain 40 pounds very quick. Family-sized bags of candy, sitting down in front of you, eat the whole thing. If I don't eat that sugar the next day, I am shaking. That's
Yeah.
has to be that like I physically felt addicted to sugar for months. Like I
Oh,
needed my sugar fix.
yeah, absolutely. Even now, I mean, I still allow myself to have like the refined sugars. I just try my best not to have as much. Even now, even being on this workaround, I still have to fight myself out of habit for reaching for like when we're at the store, candy bars or like the super high ice creams, cakes. I look at my in my cabinet, I have like a chocolate cake that my husband has been waiting for me to make. And I'm like, I know the second I make this, I'm gonna have to fight myself every day not to try to eat as much as I can without him noticing because he will notice and he'll be like, mm-mm.
Because
Mm-mm, ma'am.
naltrexone is what they give alcoholics for cravings.
Yeah, it's supposed to help cut, like, that noise
Hmm.
where it's constantly buzzing and you're constantly thinking about it, is what it's supposed to do, and I'm sure it probably does, but at this point in time, it's such a habit to, like, grab certain things that I still catch myself even though I don't want it, I still catch myself grabbing. I'm not thinking about it, which so I guess it's technically doing its job, but it's just such a habit that I'm like, "Okay, I just had dinner, I want something sweet, yoink, candy bar."
Hmm. It does make a lot of sense that the medication that helps alcoholics would also help food addicts. The same noise. It's not alcohol noise, it's food noise. It's whatever your brain is craving noise.
Yeah, yes, 100%.
That's interesting. And how long? You said 6 months or 7 months you've been doing that for?
I started the Wellbutrin about 7 months ago when I was at my height of my anxiety. Like I said, I am a instructional assistant for early childhood.
Hmm.
So I have the babies. I have 3, 4, and 5-year olds, which can really cause high stress, obviously, because it's a very high paced workplace. You're constantly on the go, and I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, I would love to work with the babies. You just must play all day." No. No, I get to be mommy when I'm not a mommy. I get to be a counselor. I get to be a chef because we're, especially in my classroom, if we notice that we have kids that won't eat, or if we notice, like, for instance, I had a child with autism this year, the only thing she would eat specifically was certain types of chicken that they would serve in the cafeteria. And at breakfast, she wouldn't eat any of the breakfast foods. That was not something that she would do. So we figured out like what it was that she did like to eat, and we would personally go and we would make sure that she had like those fruit bars. When we did special days, we made sure that we had those gummies because we knew she liked those gummies. The bananas, love bananas. So it's a very taxing
I can
mentally,
imagine.
physically, emotionally because you have all the good days with them, but you also see all the bad things too. So, and each year it just gets a little worse. The behaviors, the challenges get a little higher. The support gets a little lower. So I was at like the height of like my stress. My endocrinologist is pulling her hair out because I have a certain level, my prolactin level cannot get it down. The only time I ever had perfect blood work and my prolactin level was where it needed to be was during summer vacation when I didn't have high stress. So, and I went to go see the doctor about it. That's what we tried. We tried the Wellbutrin and we adjusted until we got to the spot that we needed. So I've been doing the Wellbutrin for about 7 months, which dropped me down. I want to say, I think I lost about 20 pounds alone on the Wellbutrin within about the first 4 months. Within about the first 4 months. And then I recently added in the Naltrox about, I want to say maybe February. So since February, I am down to my latest weigh in is 202.8. So I have officially lost 42 pounds from my hip. So yeah, it's been really helpful.
And what does the rest of it look like? So this is the medication part. Doing weight loss takes more, as you're probably realizing.
Yeah,
It's these are tools. You are taking tools. There
yeah,
is no silver bullet. There's only tools. Um,
100.
what are you doing to help these tools work?
So what I first started doing was I've had a Fitbit for a really long time, but I'm really kind of keeping track of it this time. I am trying to, my goal is kind of low for my step count. It's 7,000. So I try to at least make sure I hit that 7,000 every day. If I can get 10,000 or more, that's even better for me. That was like my first step. My second step was to try to add more water. I felt like I thought I was drinking a lot of water until you start tracking it. And then you're like, oh, I wasn't drinking nearly as much as I thought I was. So I really try to drink a lot of water throughout the day. Not gonna lie, I still have like my killer right now is a Dr. Pepper Cherry Zero. I still have my soft drinks. I do try to limit myself though with it. I keep track of my food through my Fitbit app. So I went through and I was watching I think he's a coach, and I've heard other people say it where you take your goal weight, times it by 12. That's like your maintenance kind of calorie deficit there. And then you subtract like 300 to 500 calories. So I kind of keep myself close to about 1,700 calories a day. It has been working really well for me. Sometimes I go over, sometimes I go under, sometimes I go way under. But I do try to track almost everything I eat. I'm not going to lie and say I track everything because I don't. And along with that tracking, I do try to, if I can weigh, I prefer to weigh, but I will measure out portions. Sometimes I have to eyeball, but for the most part, that goes with tracking. The beginning of the year, I joined Planet Fitness, and I tried to go. The goal was 3 to 4 times a week was to go and strength train. I average about 2 times a week, three if I'm really lucky. But just adding that in, plus a little bit of extra cardio because I will get on the treadmill for about 15 to 25 minutes. Sometimes, if I really want to hurt myself, I'll get on the Stairmaster for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I've added that in just as much movement as I can. I feel like are like my really big things that I've done. And I really do try to balance my food. I still eat processed food. Sometimes I still eat that overly processed food, but I do try to balance my meals as much as possible. And I find it really works as long as I am tracking and as long as I am trying to portion it out.
It must be so hard to be a 4'10" woman in this world. Because as someone who's 5'4", I'm significantly taller than you, and I still call myself short. And I already struggle with the fact that portions are too large for me. Portions are double for you. Like, let's be real. Like, whatever they're putting out there, you're half of like a big man.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like those big ass plates, that's more than your whole day. Like I get frustrated at the fact that the portions are never what are appropriate for me, but for you, like that must be insane. Like it's a big BS when you see according to the average 2,000 calorie a day diet. Like you can't do that.
No, 100% not. Because I remember, because my first goal is actually to get to 199. I have not been under 200 pounds in years. The last time I got under 200 pounds, honestly, I was not eating. I was not eating. Even when I did eat, it couldn't have been like 1,000 calories, and I was go 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 going. But of course, the second I started eating, I put all that weight back on because I was binging because I hadn't been
Mhm.
eating. So when I put that in, it came up like my calorie intake should have been 2,400 calories. I said 2,400 calories.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm dying on days that I accidentally hit 1,900 calories.
Mhm.
I feel horrible on those days. I could not imagine trying to eat 2,000 to 2,400 calories. There's
Mhm.
no way.
Yeah. Well, the only way to do it is with like super, super processed foods. I could do that with Sour Patch Kids. Okay, I can do that with super nibs,
Yes.
but not with proper food.
No. No. No, it threw me off this morning when I was making my breakfast because I was like, "Oh my god, this bit of watermelon's getting ready to go bad." And I think when I measured it out, it was like 200 and like 96 grams of watermelon, and it only came up to be like 93 calories or something like
Mhm.
that. It was something like ridiculously low, and I thought I was gonna die trying to eat like that bit of watermelon along with my itty bitty little breakfast burrito that I made.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, no, I absolutely not. There is no way I would be able to eat 2,000 calories on a we'll call it mostly clean, whole
Yeah.
diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that's a lot of food. That's a lot of food. So, when we were talking about weight loss and the things that you've been through, I know that there was a bunch of serious issues that you went through, but do you have any silly stories of like initiatives that you took to lose weight or did you said Slim Fast was popular. Did you do it? How long? Like
Oh
I'm
my
looking for
God.
kind of like the bogus internet scams or things like that. Did you fall for anything like that?
Yes, I did. I did not do the Slim Fast. My mother fell for the Slim Fast, and I remember her, like, opening up that first shake and going, "Oh my god, it's like drinking mud with twigs in it. This is disgusting." She was quick to quit that one. I think the stupidest thing I fell for was that damn Special K diet.
Oh yeah. Special K for breakfast and lunch.
Oh, yes, I was like, "I'm gonna do the Special K diet. I was like, "Yeah, no wonder you're gonna lose 2 pant sizes. You're starving." I think I made it 2 days, and I was like, "Okay, I'm done." I couldn't even do it. It
Okay.
was the most ridiculous thing.
Oh, so Special K is also responsible for one of my biggest childhood body dysmorphia what it got into my head. Okay, because Special K in the 1980s, what was their slogan? Special K, can't pinch an inch on me.
I
That
just commercial.
ad, can't pinch an inch. I believed that if you could pinch an inch on your waist, everybody like, oh my God. An inch, like, because it always featured that girl, and she had like this white tank top, and she was pinching fabric, right? It was like you can't pinch
Yes.
an inch. I'm like, is that what we're all supposed to be like? So forever with that commercial, and I'm like, anywhere I could pinch an inch, I thought was terrible.
Oh
Like,
my goodness.
Special K destroyed me. That stupid commercial can't pinch an inch on me. I'm gonna find it and put it in here.
Can't pinch an inch. You can't pinch an inch on me.
Yeah, that I feel like that one was probably, like, the stupidest thing that I did, aside from I I thought I was gonna try the Hydroxy Cut
Mm,
pill when they first came out. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna try this." had just graduated high school. I was working, I had my own money, and I was like, "$20 for a bottle of pills, this better work." And I took that stupid pill the first day, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" My mom was like, "Well, honey, it's nothing but caffeine." And I was like,
I feel like I had 20 cups of coffee that I can't even talking really
"Yeah."
fast. What's wrong with me? Yeah, I took it too.
Yes, I feel like those were probably, like, the stupidest things that I fell for, or when you have influencers that come out and they tell you special herbs, teas, and, vitamins that specifically melt fat off of you.
Yeah,
I
because
do
that's fair.
remember going into, like, Walmart or something going, "Where is this at?" I'm gonna, like, and then you would start taking it and you're like, "Well, it's not melting the fat off." I mean, well, yeah, it's not gonna melt the fat off of you dummy, because 'cause you're still not watching your calories, you're not moving, you're not changing your lifestyle whatsoever, you're just hoping that these little herb pills are gonna just, like, melt. No.
How long did you ever stick with any of these things? They only last a couple days? Did you actually give one a good go, like a whole month maybe? Finish the whole bottle?
No, no, absolutely not. I took that first pill of Hydroxycut, and my stepdad, who was a National Guard, he was constantly having to lose weight or make sure he was in shape for his PTs. I'm like, "Here, you can have this." There's no way. I'm not doing it. I honestly, I've said it before. I am a self sabotager. So, if something is not quick to work, I don't keep up with it. My other problem is I'm one of those people that I am gun ho. As soon as I start something, it is all in. We got this. And then within like the next 2 weeks, I'm pittering out of it.
Right.
So I will admit I'm one of those people. I don't stick with things for too long. I think the longest I did stick with, I think it was the first time that I was trying to like track. I think I stuck with like not really eating fast food. I would make when I would fix my husband his food, I would make something totally different. Like I would roast broccoli and I would bake my chicken. I did that for several months before I started losing weight, and then I would hit that snag. It's almost like I couldn't get past a certain weight on my own, and I was fine, whatever, done, done. Um, but also, I don't know if anybody else has fallen for the fad exercise videos, did the turbo fire and the insanity. That's what I thought I was gonna
Oh, is
do.
that the one where you go and write the number on the board because you've tapped out? Like,
Insanity was the one with Shaun T, and that was supposed to be for people who were like in the army, the military.
okay, okay, okay.
They did. In fact, that's where I got it from. My stepdad, the military, got it for free.
Mhm.
So he gave me his copy. Um, yeah, no, absolutely not. I thought apparently killing myself was going to help me lose the weight, and I did slim down a little bit, but once again, the eating wasn't any different, and you hurt yourself a lot on those videos. You
Yeah.
think you can be able to go faster and harder than you can, and then your body's like, no.
I know exactly which video you're talking about, and I didn't do it, but I had a different Sean T video where he was advertising that one in it. So I know which one you're talking about, but I just remember seeing the ad for it. I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, but I never did it.
It is interesting, yes, 100%. I think I made it to through the first month. I made it through the first month, and then I hurt my ankle trying to get trying to get with it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna really push myself today, and then I hurt my ankle, and I was like, okay, I'm done, tapped out, done.
What
So
I
then I
don't
went.
what I don't like about these type of programs, and it's not that they don't burn a lot of calories, because well, they do if you work hard, but relative to food, it makes people believe that they can actually outrun a bad diet, and you can't. It's
Absolutely.
impossible. It's absolutely impossible. And I think that a lot of people would be so surprised if they knew how many calories they burn. I'm not talking about what's published on the internet about how much a run burns or how much swimming burns. How much do you burn in your body? Because I have some statistics that would surprise the hell out of people. Like when I go for I did this before. I don't do it very often, but I used to go for very, very long walks on the weekend. 2.5 hours at a brisk pace. 2.5 hours.
Mhm.
650 calories. That's it.
Yes, yes.
2.5 hours. Like,
And yeah, that's something I really started taking seriously was when they were talking about the amount of calories that you physically burn working out versus the amount of calories for just existing, and then the amount of calories that you're bringing in.
mhm.
So yeah, I really started taking that seriously recently. And then on top of it, you never actually really know how many calories you're burning because these little things they're not
It's a guess.
accurate.
It's a guess.
So I mean,
Yeah, and that's again, so my 650 is more of a guess, but it's a closer guess than using those tables. Like I hate seeing this another thing. I love the certain fitness sites like Fitness Blender, for example, for my workouts at home. They're really quick and easy, but I hate it when they publish stuff like 1,000 calorie workout. No, it isn't. Bro, you can't say that. You can't say it's a 1,000 calorie workout. You can say it's a 1 hour workout. You can say we're working core, we're doing this. You can't say it's a 1,000 calorie workout.
yes, 100%. No, no.
Depends on the person, depends on the effort, like and all those things. And I don't think it's possible for me to burn 1,000 calories in an hour. Like just by math. Like if you're very big, you can burn more. The smaller you get, the fewer calories you burn. And that's the other hard thing to get um okay with weight loss. That,
Mhm.
the run that was burning 300 calories at the start of the journey is probably burning 200 calories at the end of the journey. You got smaller and you just burn less
Mhm.
when you do the same exercise. That's just how the science works. That same notion as, oh, the diet stopped working. No, as you go down in weight, your body needs less. Therefore, whatever you were eating before ain't going to work anymore. You have to cut more if you want to lose more, but it's not the diet not working. It's just you weigh less, you need less calories now. That's
Yes.
just how.
Yes. I think it takes a long time for us to realize that though. We have to go through so many mistakes to understand like that
Yeah.
whole plateau and how that works.
That is so true that I think that you have to learn it. I mean, I can make lots of videos and explain things, but you have to experience it. And it just the funny thing is that with the fountain of knowledge that one would think that I have, I still would fall for internet gimmicks because I'd get desperate. And there is this human condition of desperation. Like I grew up in an environment where I knew about calories, I knew about measuring, I knew about all of this, but yet I chose to believe there's got to be something else out there that's a magic pill. There has to be. No matter how much
Yeah.
math and science I knew, I still chose to believe. And I spent lots of money on internet potions because I chose to believe that there was something else out there that could melt my fat. And then I'd have these great daydreams like, I'm going to find the magic pill. Then I'm going to keep it a secret. And then I'm going to get like so skinny. And nobody is going to know how I did it. And it's going to be my magic pill. It's my secret.
I love it.
Did this stuff like in my 30s. I'm not talking about being a teenager. I'm saying these are like my thoughts in my 30s. Stupid, but we'll convince ourselves of anything.
Oh, 100%. Yes. Yes.
So now I want to ask you, how did you react when you first saw fat acceptance? So you've been on this weight loss journey for 7 months. Fat acceptance has been along for a lot longer. Did you take a
Yeah.
detour? Did you get sucked into it? Or did you first time you see it or the first time you saw it, did you say, this is ridiculous?
The first time that I got introduced to fat acceptance, it was still technically body positivity. I was still doing like that whole like little yo-yo thing. So I was like, oh yeah, being okay in the body that you're in, accepting yourself, I can get behind that 100%. Now I didn't know about any of the craziness until like a couple of years ago. I do feel like some of the stuff that they say is ridiculous. Genetics, sure, maybe where I store my fat. I do notice like where I store my fat happen to be a lot of the same places that both of my grandmothers happen to hold their fat, where my mom happens to hold some of her fat. Maybe, sure. I got fat from food. It wasn't all just health conditions. I can say, oh, I got fat because of my thyroid. That played a part in it. The PCOS played a part in it, but no, I got fat for because of food. Um, Not because of my financial situation, not because this is just I'm big boned. Uh, no, it was food. The one thing that I can say that I can kind of agree slightly with fat acceptance is I do feel like as an overweight person, the doctors, especially my own doctors, seem to take you a little less seriously when you come in with a condition. But in the same sense, I understand the easiest thing to do is okay, I'm coming in, I'm having obviously like money pain. When I went to go see my doctor, I'm like, I feel like I can't hardly walk. Da da da. She's like, it's arthritis. Okay. How do I fix that? You don't. Okay. What can I do? Lose weight. Okay. So obviously, like losing weight is one of the more easier things to do rather than like me. Technically, I'm infertile. I cannot have children. I've learned that during like this whole process. So, and it's unexplained infertility. And one of the things was that could be causing it is my weight. So as we go through and I lose the weight, that might help reverse it. But I do have a bunch of other conditions that do cause infertility. But for me, that's the easiest thing to do other than paying thousands of dollars to go and have some dye shot through my tubes to see if I have some blockage. Because, babies aren't a medical necessary. They want us to have them, but they don't want to pay to help us figure out why we can't have them or help us have the babies. Fine. That's fine. But I understand where the doctors are coming from. It is an easier route to say we might want to try to lose some weight versus shoving a bunch of medication in your body that may or may not even work for you.
Right. I
But
understand that, but I also like I'm now seeing your story that you said about getting your PCOS identified and other issues. I mean, that looked like lazy doctoring. Like, so there, yeah, was the other doctor correct that you did need to lose weight? Yes, but that did was she
mm,
correct in saying I'm not going to do anything until that? No. Like,
no, absolutely, no. And like I said, I definitely see it from the doctor's standpoint because obviously my weight did affect a lot of what's going on.
mhm,
The oh, my blood work was perfect. Guess what? I've had perfect blood work multiple times. I still have PCOS. I still have a thyroid condition. I still have empty sella. I still have my arthritis. You can have perfect blood work. You can have perfect blood pressure. My blood pressure is in the normal range. I still technically need medication for my blood pressure because it's on the lower side, but they can't give it to me because then it's going to raise my blood pressure too high. So I have a lot of normal stats too, but I still have a lot of my chronic illnesses caused by my weight gain.
mhm. So when you were watching Fat Acceptance, you could get behind some of the things like, yeah, fat people are not being treated the same, especially by the medical field. Um, and you wanted to be, happy in your own skin. How far did you last in that before you said some of this is bullshit?
It really didn't take too long when I got introduced to some of the people. I really don't want to name names, but they are very, very loud in the fat activist community about the fact that it's genetics, it's systemic, it's due to I'm not quite sure how food deserts impact the fact that we're overweight, considering usually of look, I
Hmm.
can still get a banana at the gas station.
Well,
I can
they
still get a
also
banana
can they conflate food desert with food swamp as well. America's got a lot of food swamps.
100%. Yes. Yes. So it, and then when Miss Holiday came out with some of her stuff, I was like, done. Like, done. I can't even be behind you all. When we had Bathroom Gate happen, I was like,
It's funny.
I can't. So you all are starting to really get ridiculous. And now it's the whole, well, now fat people don't have anywhere to shop. Whose fault is that? Whose fault that is it that we've lost tour that you all have lost a bunch of like plus size places. Unfortunately, I guess I get to be that mean person where I don't have to worry about it because I can go to Walmart and
Mhm.
buy my clothes. I am considered a skinny fat or a small
Oh,
fat.
stupid terminology here.
But yeah, no, they lost me. They lost me a long time ago. Some of the stuff I'm just like, no,
Do
no.
you have anyone in your life, either colleague or friend, family member, that is into fat acceptance or will quote fat acceptance?
No. No, absolutely, absolutely not. I can honestly say a lot of my colleagues are, and a lot of my family, they're in the kind of the same boat as me. They're either on like a weight loss journey or they're maintaining. Um, they're very supportive about trying to have a healthier lifestyle. So there is no fat acceptance in my life now. The only person I could possibly see, maybe my sister-in-law, but that's not something we necessarily talk about
Okay. So it's
when
not in
we
your inner circle. She's a circle removed. She's an in-law.
she's an in-law. Um, well, I just unfortunately they just kind of live a little bit further away, so I just don't get to see my brother and my sister-in-law and my nieces as much as I would want to.
Mhm.
But usually when we see each other, we're talking about work, we're talking about my nieces, or sometimes we might dip a little bit into politics, but it's usually just about how life is going. So if she's into fat acceptance, I don't know, but
Mhm.
I would like to think that she probably isn't.
Right. I think the first time I saw it, I thought it was a joke. Like I think I saw like one creator and I thought, well, this is a lunatic. And then I realized there's a whole world. There's a whole world of science deniers. Okay, so we were talking about fat acceptance, and we also talked a little bit about weight loss drugs. Now I want to know, what is your feeling about Ozempic and its effect on fat acceptance? Do you think that the presence of Ozempic is going to wipe out this community?
Um, honestly, I'm in a toss-up about it. I want to say probably not. I feel like there are just some fat activists that are 100% so stubborn and against giving up, I guess, these beliefs that they have, that they would ever turn to Ozempic. And normally I'm not one to really push um my thoughts on people or push medication on people. I do kind of wish they would change their mind about that because especially the younger ones, I really don't think they understand how badly this excess weight on their body can really damage it, how quickly. I'm 37. Well, I'll be 37. Let me correct that. I have arthritis in both of my knees. I have arthritis in one of my hips. Um, I was constantly spraining my ankles if I put my weight on them a certain way. The damage is done. There's no reversing that. When I was younger, I didn't have any problems. Sure, I was 220 pounds, ripping and running. Once again, doing silly things like Insanity or Turbo Fire. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing all this high impact, all this, no problems whatsoever. And now that I'm older, I'm like, I can't even sit for too long without having to adjust myself because if it's not my knee that's hurting, it's my hip hurting. If I'm sleeping, I wake up out of my sleep because my hip is hurting so bad. I have to like adjust my body. Um, the PCOS, maybe, maybe I can reverse that. I'm not sure. The last couple of times I've seen my OBGYN, the cysts are gone, but I'm still diagnosed. And part of that, from what I understand, was part of the weight gain. I mean, I know you can still have PCOS, but for me, it was part of my rapid weight gain. As I wish they would change that. I really do. It's not for vanity. You can say, "Oh, you're not really worried about my health. You just want to eradicate fat." No, no. As a fat person who is trying to become a former fat, I promise you, you are damaging your body. You are hurting your body, and in the long run, you're either going to be really hurt as you get older. You're going to be really sore. You're just not going to have the ability to move certain ways, or you're going to continue to eat yourself into an early grave.
There was, I don't know if you saw this video of mine, but maybe a year or so ago, I made a video. It was about Megan Ann's blow up with another TikToker. And it was something about eggs. That's what I remember. But anyways, at the end, the point is at the end of that video, the very, very end of that video, I had one clip of this TikToker that I would love it if she would go viral because she had this like heartfelt, like, it ain't cute to be in part of fat acceptance. Your body will give out because again, she got older, right? She's like about 40 or so, and like it was all
Mhm.
fun until it wasn't. And
Yeah.
just reminding people, and like it was such a good TikTok, and of course all the other ones go viral, not the good stuff. But if you have a moment, it's at the end of that one. Maybe I'll send you a link to it after. It's
Yeah.
such a good inspirational TikTok, and I just wish that more stuff like that. Like I thought of her because the way that you were speaking right now reminded me of her, like just reminding people that it can get rough. It Things can
It
break. You can be in
it
pain.
it, it does. And it's not something you think about when you're young. And it's not something you think about until it happens to you.
Right. Yeah, all good points. So we're at the last part of the interview, and you've already kind of started to do it already, but I'm going to ask you for something different then. Um, if you have any advice or words from my audience regarding weight loss, motivation, anything along those subject lines, I'll let you have your your closing statement.
Sure. Um, don't let somebody's bad experience be your bad experience. I know there are a lot of people out there who are spewing like this horrible stuff about gyms. And I know it sounds silly, but as a fat woman who goes to the gym by herself, um, I promise you, the gym community is not what they're saying it is. I've never once had a bad experience. Um, Dieting, your lifestyle changes. Sure, it can be a little hard, but don't let somebody tell you not to do something or talk you out of doing something because it didn't work for them or it wasn't great for them or I'm going to say it, they made up a story. I don't believe half the stuff that people are saying about, oh, well, I went into the gym and this person bullied me because I was on the Stairmaster. I was literally dying next to one of the fittest men I think I've ever seen. And he said nothing to me. He didn't even glance my way. He don't care. These people at the gym do not care about you. And if they do, they're not at the gym to do what they need to do. Please do not let somebody's bad experience be your bad experience. I know it's scary. I'm terrified all the time. I still get butterflies when I walk in. I've been going to the gym for 6 months now. But I promise you, you are going to end up loving it. I love working out now. I love going to the gym. I get really sad when I can't go and I can't lift my weights. You get super excited when you hit your new PR. It's a wonderful experience. It is a wonderful experience seeing the new body that you're shaping, all the compliments. I don't care what anybody says. Please accept those compliments. You looked good before you lost the weight, but you're looking even better now because now you're feeling better and it's really showing. It has nothing to do with the body. You are showing that you are feeling good, that you're looking good. You're looking good because you're feeling good. Just please, just do it. Do it. Be like Nike, just do it.
Thanks, Amanda. That was so great. That quote of please don't let other people's bad experiences be yours, or I don't remember exactly how you phrased that. That is so true because in this age of the internet, you can get absorbed in TikTok so much. And I don't know if you've been here before, but I have watched so many videos. At times I forget if I lived the video or if I watched the video. I'm like, oh, I did this. I'm like, no, I didn't do this. I watched that.
Yeah.
You watch
Yes.
so much, you forget what you watched versus what you did. You forget what you think versus what someone else thinks and told you to think.
Yes.
Very important. I really, really like that point of what you made.
Yeah.
Don't let other people's bad experiences be yours.
Yes, it really is important because, like I said, and I know it was a lot about going to the gym. I am now a big supporter of the gym. If you need somebody to go with, find you a partner. That's great. Going by yourself is just as good too. Throw them headphones in. Try not to make eye contact with people because you feel weird. You feel weird about making eye contact. But there are a lot of TikToks. There are a lot of people out there going, well, I went into the gym and I was bullied because I looked like this. Or I went into the gym and these people were talking about me because I was doing this. And I'm like, I don't know what gym you're going to. We might just want to find a new one if that's the case, because I go to a Planet Fitness.
Mhm.
I go to a Planet Fitness. I go to like probably one of the weirdest little Planet Fitnesses. I tell you what, we are a big mixture of I don't know what in there. And I go with a lot of fit people, and you will start seeing a lot of the same people over and over again. So you know faces, they know your face, they know your routine, you know their routine. Never, never. The worst that's happened is we've made eye contact with each other and like quickly like jerked away because we don't want to seem like we're that weirdo that's staring. And if they're staring at you, maybe they're not staring at you because you're doing something or you look a certain way. I stare at people sometimes because I'm like, is that how you use that equipment?
Right. Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, someone's on Jacob's ladder. I'm like, that thing goes unused by everybody else. How do you turn that thing on?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, like, I think it's like a hack squat machine, and I'm like, how do you do that? Like, I do not understand because you have to be like 6 foot tall. Then I realized when I was watching this other short chica use it that it has handles on the side to adjust the height so it fits you. And I'm like, I'm so glad I watched you. So I could figure that one out. 'Cause I'm like, I'm not a 6 foot giant. I can't use that one. I was like, oh, it's got
I
handles.
can just imagine you getting on an exercise bike after a big man in your feet.
Oh, it has happened. it has happened. I cannot tell you how many times I've go to get onto like, oh my God, what is it? The leg curls, and my legs are just, I'm just like little feet are kicking, and I feel so bad because I've watched a much bigger person, and by bigger I mean much taller person than me, get on a machine after me, and I'm like, because they're like trying to squish in and they can't figure out like who was on it. I'm like, sorry. I'm sorry. So a lot of times I will try to adjust the machines back to like a normal height before before I leave them, so people aren't like squished in.
My mother is also very short, and we used to call it the trash compactor because her car key has the settings, right? So if you borrow her key and turn on the car, it's going to her settings, right? It's like no one wants to get in the trash compactor. All the men would like put the key in, turn the car, let it go, and
I
that's
love that. Oh my goodness, you just reminded me of a story. I remember my poor husband when I was at like my heaviest weight. I walked from my steps of my porch into my car, and at that point in time, my stomach was hitting my steering wheel because I am tiny, so I am all the way up on that steering wheel. And I get in the car, I go, ugh. He's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm just fat." And like my stomach is like pressed up against the steering wheel, and I think that was one of the first things I noticed when I started losing weight. Is I was like, "There's space between me and the steering wheel, and I'm literally all the way up on." I'm like, "Yes."
Oh,
So
that
yeah,
sucks
I
for you because you're
definitely
short, so you can't go back because then you can't reach.
absolutely not. I have to double check my car, especially when I have it worked on, because I warn them
Hmm.
if you have somebody tall get in the car, they're gonna have to adjust the seat back.
Hmm.
And they're like, why? I said, because I'm short and it's all the way up on that steering wheel. So when I get in, sometimes they already adjust it for me and sometimes they don't. And I look like a small child playing in the
It's
car.
kicking
I'm
your
like, I can't reach nothing.
One other point that I actually wanted to bring up before we sign out is you mentioned about taking in those compliments at the gym. And I'm going to draw attention to the fact that the compliments that you get at the gym are going to actually be a little bit more meaningful because those people have seen the effort. The other people that are going to compliment you in the street might say, "Hey, you look really good. You lost weight." I'm not saying that they don't know the effort, but it's a little less genuine than the people in the gym. Like, if someone has been seeing you, I'm not talking about ogling you or staring you. Don't get creeped out, but you can't help but notice people in the gym. You can't help it. You happen to see someone frequently and you happen to see them lose weight. If that person comes up to you and says, "Hey, you're looking good, good job," I think that compliment is a little bit more meaningful because they've seen the effort. They've seen you slogging it. They've seen all of what you're doing. And yeah, some people might be a little bit creeped out, "Don't look at me," but I don't know. And that little bit of a family of a gym of like people applauding the work, I think that those compliments are less creepy and more encouraging just because they've watched you work for it.
100, yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing is it also depends on if you're a vibe person, the vibe that they give off, because you do have some people you're just kind of like, I don't think I want your compliment, but thank you anyways, because you just know. But as a Leo, I just absolutely love compliments. So the people at work, it is funny to them because I know a lot of people get the uh God, what was it? It was the other day. It was, oh, must be lucky. You must be lucky, must be nice. No, my day starts at 4 a.m. If I want to work out, my day starts at 4 a.m. and it doesn't end until 10 p.m. I make it work. And my coworkers are like, I don't know how you do it. It's hard. So it does mean a little bit more from like maybe them than say like my mom. Oh, you're looking so good. Although I had to say something to my stepdad the other day because he was like, you're just disappearing. You're just melting away. Are you sure this weight loss is like healthy for you? I'm like, it's healthier than all the fat on my body. Yes. Yes. The weight loss is healthy for me. 100%. It is improving my health. But yes, no. But my coworkers are very about it. They're very supportive. I did have one ask me the other day, "Girl, you are looking so are you trying to lose your dunk?" I promise you that thing ain't going nowhere. That thing has been with me my entire life, ain't going nowhere. We're just trying to perk it up a little bit,
Mhm.
trying to get it to sit where it's supposed to be. But yes, yes, I know. Another thing with that acceptance right now is don't compliment people's bodies because you don't know. Please compliment my body.
Mhm.
Tell me that I'm looking good because that just lets me know that people are seeing the effort because it is hard work.
Also, complimenting someone in the gym is a safer bet than complimenting a colleague in the office that has been losing weight because in that case, you really don't know
Oh,
like why they're losing weight, but seeing someone in the gym without even saying weight loss, you can say, "Hey, you're looking good," or someone tells you, "Hey, you're looking good." It could be just a reflection of the workout. Even if there's other stuff going on, their comment is a reflection of what they see, which is you working out.
yes. Yes. I mean, unless the colleagues are no, unless you're like me, you're a motor mouth, you're an open book, because Lord knows I am. People know too much about me. People who shouldn't know things about me know too much about me. Bless my principal's heart. I love her. I'm sorry for her. Um, but yeah, no, unless you are completely open about it, yeah, a compliment from somebody at the gym is definitely a safer bet than your colleagues, somebody rando on the street, maybe a acquaintance that you see every now and then.
Right.
Because yeah, you don't know how somebody's losing weight. Maybe they do have a chronic illness. But
Yeah.
I say take the compliment regardless.
Yeah, compliments are good. I wish we didn't live in a world where like everyone has to be so scared to deliver them. Well, thank you, Amanda, so much for coming on the channel. Your story was very, very entertaining, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it. And for everyone else that is watching, if you have a story that you want to share, please DM me on Instagram at Mom That Dances because I want to hear your story too.